So here we are, we're doing punching for BattleTech, for physical attacks, and we're going to go through it and explain how it all works.
So, as we've mentioned in our previous thing, everything is based on piloting skill.
Yep.
And a lot of the actual physical attacks will have their own specific modifier. You get modifiers for actuators and all that sort of stuff, but they have their own specific modifiers as well. And punching has a +0, which is handy.
Yeah.
Started easy.
I kind of like punching. I'm sort of punching and kicking. I seem to use quite a bit, but punching does have like a lot of advantages, which I kind of like. But yeah, if you haven't got sort of lasers on your arms and things like that. If your arms are free of weapons and you want to do some punching, it's good. But
yeah, and if you're somehow managed to get a better piloting skill than gunnery skill, then physical attacks are your thing. So the punch is the exception to the one at a time thing, in that you can actually punch with both arms if you want to.
Yeah,
and as long as you haven't used weapons.
Yeah, because it's your one physical attack type.
But you're allowed two of them.
Yeah.
As long as you haven't fired any weapons on that arm, and as long as you have a working shoulder actuator in that arm. If you don't have a working actuator in the shoulder, then you can't punch.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's handy. It's good because of your arms, because you can actually attack things like your right arm can punch something in the right side.
Yep.
And the front, and left and the left and the front. So you've got a bit of flexibility there, which is kind of cool.
And the other cool thing is you can split that, so you can punch someone on your right side and someone on your left side with two separate arms and not have a modifier for multiple targets. That's only gunnery, so that doesn't apply here. So you're allowed to punch two different things and ignore the secondary target modifier.
That's very handy.
Which is cool.
That's very handy.
Especially if you're getting ganged up on by those little locust things. So you can't punch with the shoulder critical. You've got actuator damage, then you will get modifiers to your roll. And
it does reduce the damage as well.
So your normal damage is 1 for every 10 tons.
Yep.
So you divide by 10 tons and
round up.
Yep. You reduce that damage by half for each upper or lower actuator, arm actuator, damaged or not present. So if you've built your mech without a lower arm actuator, then that counts as not being present. So you get half damage on all punches from that. That mech. And it's cumulative. So if you're missing both actuators, upper and lower actuators, you'll get a quarter damage. So you get half and then half again. So yeah, if you are building your own mechs, be very wary of what you take out. Because I used to do that. I used to take all the actuators out the arms and just make them missile bays or something.
Yeah, no, that's right.
It's cool.
I mean, it's an advantage there.
But it means you don't have the flexibility of being able to punch.
I mean, they are cheaper. Like a lot of the designs that you see, it's not just for the game. I mean, there's the in-game universe. It's all money and things like that. You cut costs to bring a mech out, make it cheaper and all that sort of thing. But
and taking the actuators out is an easy way to cut costs.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't have to have hands to punch, but if you're not equipped with a hand on the punching arm, you add a +1 modifier. As if you'd had a hand actuator critical hit. And likewise, mechs that do not come equipped with a lower arm actuator on the punching arm must add +2 modifier to the 2 hit. You replace the hand one. So if you don't have a hand, you get a +1. If you don't have a hand and a lower arm, then you get a +2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it can start to add up.
Yeah. And that will still, that lower arm actuator missing gives you a +2 and still halves your damage. So yeah, having functioning arms if you're going to punch is pretty critical. I think we were going into before a locust can technically punch.
Yeah.
But I don't think they have lower or upper arm actuators, and they don't have hand actuators, so it'd be a plus several, and it'd take quarter damage.
Yeah.
And from a 20-ton mech, that's not a lot.
have to have another look at the sheet. I can't quite remember.
I can't remember either, but we'll have a squeeze.
Sometimes the way the artists draw the mech, even though it has arms or whatever, it might be like a little T-Rexy or something. But yeah, I don't know. So you'd have to have a look on the sheet.
Oh dear.
Pretty cool. But why would you punch? The obvious thing is the chances of hitting the head, because it's a little different.
Yep.
It has its own table.
Yeah.
So instead of rolling your 2d6 for your full body, you're rolling 1d6, and you're hitting basically the head and the torso. So that gives you a higher chance of, well, even if you don't kill the pilot, you're doing damage to them, and they might fall unconscious. And
so a 6 on a d6 is the head, rather than a 12 on 2d6. So you've got a better chance of getting a head hit. And with some of the larger mechs, even dividing their tonnage by 10, it builds up pretty quickly.
Yeah, that's right.
It's, two punches from an awesome is 2 lots of 8 damage.
Oh yeah, and that's it. Well, you're dead.
Yeah. Anything smaller than that is basically taking a butt ton of damage.
Because one of the things with the mech designs, it doesn't matter how heavy they are, the maximum armor that they can have is 9 on the head.
On the head,
3 inside.
Yep.
So, something to keep in mind.
And that's, Atlas is punching like people in the head or whatever.
It's like punch crit.
Yeah.
Punch crit. Dead after the second one, obviously, but yeah.
It's worth mentioning, I think we've mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning as well that if you are at different levels, you use different tables. So if you are above your opponent, you're not going to be able to punch them.
Yeah.
And if you're below, you'll be punching them on the kick table. So if you're hitting them in the legs.
So we'll have a little thing here. We'll set it up. There's.
So put them on the same level first.
There we are.
There you go.
So in this situation, if they wanted to do physical attacks against one another, that's fine. They're on the same level. So a punch will be to the punch location.
Yep.
And vice versa. If we have here, so the Wolverine's on level 1 and the Griffin's level 0. So in this instance, the Wolverine cannot punch.
No.
Because he's too high.
He's too high up for that.
And if the Griffin punches, he's going to be doing damage to the legs.
Which can be an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends sort of where the damage has already been allocated on your target. If there's an advantage, I mean, it's always good to take out legs of a mech. Let's face it.
Well, that sometimes you'll get a point where you've managed to take a leg almost out and your weapons are out or he's trying to get away or something like that. And just that one good solid punch to the leg, and he's down and you can finish him off. But,
I like punching though. Like the fact that you can split your attacks and you don't have those penalties, and you can still got the full fire arcs.
Yeah. And it torso twists as well, so you can do your torso twist, I'm pretty sure.
Yep. That's
so
right.
You can move that front arc around if you are getting swarmed by smaller mechs, and you can technically punch to the rear.
That's right. So torso twist, and you've got one punch to the rear.
Yeah.
Which is good.
So, I mean, choose your arm carefully.
Of course.
But you can technically get a punch into your rear arc if you need to. And it is a favourite thing for the smaller, lighter mechs that are really, really fast to get in behind the larger mechs as much as possible. Because that weak back armour there is just ripe for a medium laser or two, and you just chip away at them. But if they're standing right behind you, whoosh, bang, you got him.
And even if you miss a punch or whatever, you don't have to do any piloting skill checks or anything like that. There are some others where you do.
There's no displacement. There's no penalties for missing. There's no other stuff like that.
There's no heat.
No physical attacks don't involve any heat.
No.
Death from above, technically you build up heat because you've moved, and charging you technically build up heat because you moved, but you're not building up heat for the attack itself.
Yeah.
Which is an advantage as well. And you're using your piloting skill instead of your gunnery skill. So if something's happened to your gunnery skill, then you're there. But you have to remember that internal damage to your arms and legs will change your target number. So as soon as you start taking internal damage on those arms, you're going to be racking up those modifiers. So you just got to keep an eye on things.
I'm going to do an example for punching here.
Yep.
So we have all the movement modifiers and everything have been added. So movement's been done. They've done some shooting. So now we're on the physical attacks. Okay.
Yep.
They've both declared punching against one another.
They've both walked and they've both got a +1 to their modifiers.
Yes. So white dice for walk, and that's how far they move.
Okay.
All right. So let's start with the Wolverine attacking the Griffin. So they're both standard pilots. There's no damage internal or anything like that. So there's no heat that's affecting anything. Although that doesn't really work for physical attacks either.
No. So the heat modifier doesn't apply.
Yeah, it's good.
Which is good.
Okay. So you get to do 2 punches. So piloting of 5. He walked is 6. You don't have to worry about range, which is cool. And he has a +1, so you need 7s.
Yep. And he missed.
So 2 misses. There you go.
Look at you miss.
So the Griffin, who's maybe the villain, I don't know. We don't know just yet. So same thing. No, they missed.
They both missed.
They both missed. Let's assume that the Griffin did actually
Someone
hit.
hit something.
Okay. Oh, look! What? Look!
Oh,
look!
oh
Wow.
no!
Oh,
Look! Oh, God! Oh,
Wow!
the
2
horror.
9s. Look.
Good Lord!
Okay,
How
so
did you roll that?
So the poor Wolverine is getting punched by 2 of them. Okay, so let's do it one at a time.
Each one will do. What is he? 55 tons. So each one will do 6 points of damage. So that's 12 points of damage he's doing there.
Yep. But you apply it separately. So
Yep.
you roll on the mech punch location table.
Yep. So it's a D6. First lot of
So a 2 for the first fist.
is the left torso.
All right. So that would be 6 damage applied to the left torso, to the front, because the facing is the front.
Yep.
And for the second one, a 3.
Ooh. So the center torso.
All right. Punch right in the chest.
Now these guys have got enough armor to sustain that. They're not going to have too much difficulty with it. But that's technically more than a medium laser does.
Yeah.
And it's opening them up for more damage along the way. So always something to use.
Pretty straightforward.
Very straightforward. Alrighty.
All right. But I think that's it. That's punching.
Yes.
So we're only sort of talking about the target of an attack being a BattleMech. So we haven't sort of talked about vehicles and whatever else. So obviously vehicles, they don't have armor, so they can't punch. And
vehicles can only ram.
Yeah,
that's the only thing they can do.
But yeah, but
we'll probably go into those when we do vehicles and infantry, I guess.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right, so that is punching.
Yay.
So we'll talk about the others after this one. So keep an eye out for that. But for now, that's it. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
You want to do a demo? We have to roll the goddamn dice or she's going to have a spaz.
All right.
So we have to roll the goddamn dice or she's going to have a spaz.
A quick punch.
Put that in the video, Bill. I dare you.